If you thought Congress was done messing with your Social Security check, you need to stop what you're doing and watch this right now. Because behind closed doors, 3 more changes are already moving through Washington, and every single one of them will hit your bank account before the end of 2026. I'm talking about a change to how your monthly check is calculated, a change to who qualifies for full benefits, and a third change so quiet, so buried inside a bigger bill, that even most financial advisors haven't read it yet. But it could permanently reduce the survivor benefit your spouse receives after you're gone. The mainstream news isn't covering this. The Social Security Administration isn't sending letters about it. And by the time your neighbors find out, it'll already be law. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through all 3 changes, exactly who gets hit, and the steps you can take this week to protect every dollar you've earned. And stay with me until the end, because the third change is the one nobody saw coming, and it affects widows, widowers, and anyone who's ever planned on a spouse's check. If you're over 60, hit subscribe right now. This channel exists for one reason: to decode what Washington is doing to your retirement, in plain English, before it's too late to do anything about it. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with change number 1, and this is the one that's going to hit the most people the fastest. Congress is moving to adjust how the cost of living adjustment, the COLA, is calculated. Right now, your annual Social Security raise is based on something called the cpi-e. That stands for the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners. The problem is the cpi-e tracks the spending habits of working-age people, not retirees. So when gas goes up, the cpi-e reflects that. But when prescription drugs go up 15%, or Medicare premiums jump, or your property taxes spike, the cpi-e barely notices, and your raise barely moves. For decades, advocacy groups have asked Congress to switch to a different formula called the cpi-e. The E stands for elderly. It tracks what seniors actually spend money on: healthcare, housing, prescriptions, utilities. Under the cpi-e, your COLA would have been roughly 0.2 to 0.3 percentage points higher every year for the last 20 years. Doesn't sound like much? Run the math. On a $2,000 monthly check, compounded over a 25-year retirement, that's tens of thousands of dollars you should have already received. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's a bill being discussed right now that would partially adopt the cpi-e formula starting in late 2026. But, and this is the part nobody is reporting, the version being negotiated includes a cap. The increase wouldn't be unlimited. There would be a ceiling on how much your COLA could grow in any single year. And there are whispers of a means test attached, meaning seniors above a certain income level may not get the full adjustment at all. What does this mean for you? If you're a middle-class retiree on a modest check, this could be a real win. Your annual raise might finally start keeping up with what retirement actually costs. But if you're a higher earner, or if you've delayed claiming until 70 to maximize your benefit, you may end up with a smaller raise than you expected, even though you paid in more your entire career. Either way, you need to know which side of that line you fall on before the bill becomes law. Now let's talk about change number 2. And this one is going to make a lot of people angry. Congress is quietly debating raising the full retirement age. Again. Right now, depending on the year you were born, your full retirement age is somewhere between 66 and 67. The proposal on the table would push that up to 68 and possibly 69 for anyone born after 1970. They're framing it as a modernization because Americans are living longer. The reality is, it's a benefit cut, a big one. Here's why. If your full retirement age moves from 67 to 68, every month you claim before 68 becomes a reduced benefit. So someone who was planning to retire at 67 and collect their full check, they'd now be claiming a year early, locking in a permanent reduction of about 6 to 7% for the rest of their life. And the spousal and survivor benefits tied to that record? Reduced too. But here's what the politicians aren't saying out loud. This change wouldn't just affect people in their 50s. There are versions of this proposal that would phase in faster, hitting people currently in their early 60s, people who are months away from filing. If you're 61, 62, or 63 right now, you need to be paying very close attention, because the date you actually file may matter more than you think. There may be a window, a narrow one, where filing under the old rules locks in your old full retirement age. And if you wait too long, you may be grandfathered into the new system without realizing it. The action step here is simple. Pull up your Social Security statement. Go to ssa.gov and log into your My Social Security account. Find your full retirement age listed on the statement. Write it down. And if you're within 5 years of that age, start running the numbers now on what claiming early under the current rules looks like, versus claiming later under the new rules. Because if change number 2 passes, the math changes for millions of people overnight. All right, now for change number 3, the one I told you nobody saw coming. This is the one buried inside a much larger piece of legislation, and it's the reason most people will be blindsided. Congress is reviewing changes to how survivor benefits are calculated for surviving spouses. Right now, here's how it works. When one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse gets to keep the larger of the 2 Social Security checks. So if you were getting $2,000 a month and your spouse was getting $2,800, the survivor keeps the $2,800 going forward. The smaller check goes away. That's been the rule for decades. It's the foundation of how millions of couples plan their retirement. The proposed change would alter that formula. Instead of keeping 100% of the larger check, the survivor would receive a percentage, possibly 75%, of the combined household benefit. Let me show you what that means in real dollars. Couple gets $2,000 plus $2,800. That's $4,800 a month combined. Under the current rule, survivor keeps $2,800. Under the proposed rule, survivor gets 75% of $4,800, which is $3,600. So at first glance, that sounds better, right? $3,600 is more than $2,800. But that's only true for couples where both spouses earned roughly the same amount. For couples where one spouse was the primary earner, which is most American couples over 60, the math goes the other way. Imagine the higher earner gets $3,500 a month, and the lower earner gets $1,200 a month. Combined, that's $4,700. Under the current rule, survivor keeps $3,500. Under the proposed rule, survivor gets 75% of $4,700, which is $3,525. Pretty close. But now imagine the spread is wider. High earner gets $3,800. Low earner gets $900. Combined, $4,700. Current rule, survivor keeps $3,800. New rule, survivor gets $3,525. That's nearly $300 a month less, forever. And widows are typically the surviving spouse. Women outlive men by an average of 5 to 7 years in this country. So this change disproportionately hits widows, the very group Social Security was originally designed to protect. Now here's the kicker. There's discussion of grandfathering, meaning couples already collecting may be exempt from the new formula. But couples who haven't filed yet, or where one spouse hasn't filed, may fall under the new rules. Which means right now in 2026, there is potentially a closing window where filing strategy can lock you and your spouse into the more favorable calculation. This is where I have to be very clear with you. I'm not saying file early just to beat a rule change. Filing early permanently reduces your benefit, and that's almost always a bad financial decision. But what I am saying is, If you and your spouse are already at full retirement age or close to it, this is the moment to sit down together and run the numbers. Not next year, not after the holidays. Now. Because the difference between filing under the current survivor rule and the proposed one could be over $50,000 across a typical surviving spouse's lifetime. So let me pull all three changes together. Change 1. A new COLA formula that helps some retirees and quietly hurts others depending on income. Change 2. A higher full retirement age that turns claiming on time into claiming early for millions of people approaching retirement. Change 3. A survivor benefit formula that shifts how widows and widowers are protected and could leave the surviving spouse with hundreds of dollars less every single month. Now here's what I want you to do this week. 3 steps. Step 1. Log into ssa.gov and pull your most recent Social Security statement. Verify your earnings record, confirm your full retirement age, and write down your projected benefit at 62, at full retirement age, and at 70. Step 2. If you're married, sit down with your spouse and look at both records side by side. Identify which of you is the higher earner and what the survivor would receive under today's rules. Step 3. If you're within 5 years of filing, talk to a fee-only fiduciary advisor who specializes in Social Security claiming strategy. Not someone trying to sell you an annuity, someone whose only job is to run the math for your specific situation. Look, I want to be honest with you about something. None of these 3 changes are law yet. They're proposals. They're being debated. They could be modified. They could even be killed entirely. But here's the pattern I've watched my entire career. When Congress starts seriously discussing a change to Social Security, some version of it almost always passes. The details shift, the timing shifts, but the direction rarely does. And the people who get hurt the most are the ones who weren't paying attention. That's why this channel exists. Not to scare you, not to push some agenda, but to make sure you walk into your retirement decisions with your eyes wide open, and with the same information that wealthy retirees and their advisors already have access to. If this video helped you understand what's coming, do me 3 quick favors. Hit the like button so YouTube shows this to more seniors who need to see it. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next update. And share this video with your spouse, your siblings, or anyone you know over 60. Because the people who hear this first are the people who have time to act. Everyone else is going to find out the hard way. In the next video, I'm breaking down exactly how to run the survivor benefit math for your specific situation, including a free worksheet you can print out and fill in at your kitchen table tonight. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one.